In this episode, I go over my top 5 picks for New Comic Book Day coming out next week, July 6th, 2022. What is up, everybody? Justin here, aka No Good Comics, and welcome back to the channel. In this episode, I'm going over my top 5 picks for New Comic Book Day coming out next week, July 6th, 2021. Not 2021, 2022. Make sure you're paying attention. But if you're here for all that, the new comics, take a moment, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Big shout out to everybody in the premiere chat right now. As always, these videos premiere every Thursday, 12:30 Eastern. So if you're free, you want to hang out in the live chat with me while I eat my lunch, then I appreciate your taking the time. Otherwise, if you're just watching this on your own time, I also appreciate that as well. So there's a lot of books. As I always say, it's another great week for comics. Usually, I'm trying to keep these, obviously the video is called Top 5, but I do have some honorable mentions. In fact, I have 5 honorable mentions altogether that I want to mention here before I get into my top 5. And then, of course, I'll round out this video with my cover buy of the week as well. You can already hear my dog's very excited, so let's get started. Okay, so first up on the list for my honorable mentions, I have to shout out this book right here, Strange Academy. Issue number 18 is coming out. I'm actually not caught up to this quite yet. I think I'm like 3 or 4 issues behind, but I've been slowly catching up. I missed the bandwagon when this first came out, a little late to the party, but yeah, I love it. It's a great series. It's a lot of fun. Very much of that X-Men style with the school and everything, kind of a mixture of that and Harry Potter per se with the wizards and things like that. So really cool mix of things that I like and I'm enjoying. So, and of course, Scotty Young, absolutely killing it. So definitely want to put that as just an honorable mention as I hope to catch up maybe this week. We'll see, this weekend. We'll see how it goes. But I wanted to add that in. Next one here on the list, I have to also mention Philadelphia. This is issue number 23 coming out. Another fantastic series just as a whole. I've read the first 3 trades so far, and this is a series that I feel reads a little bit better in trade. So I've been purposely waiting for these trades to button up. So I think this next trade is already either finished or this is the finale of that. Actually, now that I see the title, it says this is part 5. So it looks like that's still going, whether it ends here or on the next issue. But either way, for anyone that's been reading this, I hope you're enjoying it, because I know that those first 3 trades have been fantastic, and I'm hoping that the series continues to be just as good. So that's Philadelphia, issue number 23. Another one I had to mention here, this is a new one from Ablaze. I don't really buy too many Ablaze books nowadays, but this one caught my attention. It's called Prometheus 1313, issue number 1. It gives me that like The Martian kind of vibe, and I love that type of stuff. So that sci-fi, outer space type of stuff, aliens and all that, sign me up all day. So I will definitely at least check this out, maybe get the first issue. The writer here, Andy Diggle, don't know much about him, but definitely want to check it out just for that. Like I said, even the cover just caught my attention. So Prometheus 1313, issue number 1. Wanted to mention that one as part of the new releases coming out next week. Another one that actually didn't make my top 5 list this week because there's so many that I was trying to fit, and I had to make some sacrifices. And so this is one that normally is always in my top 5, or it has been in the past 4 issues. But this is Batman Killing Time, issue number 5. It's written by Tom King. This is another book that I've really been enjoying. It's a little bit more complex. I mean, it's Tom King. It's definitely something you have to, reread a time or two to really follow along with everything, especially how he kind of chooses to tell the story in this. There's a lot of time jumping back and forth, and so it is hard to keep track. I think overall it will read better as like one sit down, kind of a trade read, if you haven't started it already. But if you are keeping up with it, just know that it is coming out next week, and I've been enjoying the hell out of it, and I'm looking forward to more. So again, that is by Tom King, Batman Killing Time, issue number 5. And then the last book that I did want to mention here before I get into my actual top 5 picks is The Closet, issue number 2. This is a James Tynion project. It's actually printed by Image, but I think he initially released it on his Substack. It's the first issue. It was good enough for me. I know there were a mixed feelings from some of the comic book community that perhaps it was a little too slow or that not enough happened. And maybe this is, again, just a setup where it just reads better in trade. I feel like Tynion, very much like his Something is Killing the Children, and some other series that he's written. I feel like a lot of that kind of ties in better as a trade read, as it fits more of that more modern, newer style of comic book writing. So either way, I'm not giving up on it yet because it was intriguing enough for me, and I was interested in the father, the main character, and that's really all we got so far. I mean, we got a little bit of his life with his family or lack thereof, and of course the kid who's getting visits from the closet, some sort of alien. But yeah, so I'm very curious to see where it goes from here. I very much trust James Tynion, so that's another reason that I'm just like, yeah, let's keep going with this. So that's another book I just wanted to mention real quick that is coming out next week. The Closet, issue number 2, just shy of my top 5 list. So let's get into the top 5 now, and I'm going to start off my list at number 5 with a DC book here, Dark Crisis, issue number 2. I have fully, I feel like I say this every week, but I've fully jumped into exploring all of the DC world, and at least actually both new and old, because I've been reading some older Superman and stuff like that, and yes, now I'm keeping up with some of the more current events that are kicking off. So Dark Crisis issue number 2, it was Justice League 75, where the Justice League die essentially, and so it's the core 5 that have been dismissed, and so now it's like the rest of the world is trying to figure out what to do next. The superheroes that are left are trying to figure out what to do next, and the villains are not even just the top end villains, but the lower villains are all trying to take advantage of this time period where it's a little bit more of a crisis, and no one's there to really stop them other than, of course there are other superheroes, but they're not, the top superheroes that are there. So it's going to be up to a lot of the other characters that even I'm still learning. Obviously Nightwing being one of them. A lot of the Robins are involved, which I'm really excited for, and others. So I'm very curious to see kind of where this goes. And again, this is just kicking off issue 2. This is 2 of 7 altogether. And there's a bunch of tie-ins that I will be reading, and I already have been reading, and I have been enjoying them. And it is helping me learn a little bit more of some of these DC characters that, I'm pretty new to still. So, yeah, I'm all in on this right now. Going to continue to enjoy the ride, and let me know in the comment section below if you're reading the Dark Crisis stuff. Did you ever read any of the I know there's a lot of different Crisis that DC's done over the years on Infinite Earths and all that other stuff. I haven't read any of that stuff, and maybe that's something I go back to at some point, because I do like these large events where there's a lot of characters involved. Those are fun, as long as they're buttoned up in a certain way. So but yeah, so I'm going to continue on with this particular series, and of course Joshua Williamson is continuing on with the writing for this, and I'll also mention the artist here, Daniel Samper, who has been doing the interior artwork as well as this cover here. As you can see, the latest is that the Titans Academy is now being attacked by Slade Wilson and a bunch of other villains. So that's kind of where we left off from the last issue. But there's a lot of little story arcs that are going on with this, so it's a lot to kind of follow. And so yeah, who knows? It might be better in trade overall, but I'm going to stick with it. I'm enjoying it, and that's why it's my number 5 pick of the week, Dark Crisis issue number 2. Okay, going in at number 4 on the week, I am going with a book by Dustin Nguyen and Jeff Lemire. It is Little Monsters, issue number 5, and look at this beautiful cover. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love seeing that Dustin Nguyen is working with Jeff Lemire again in this series. I've expressed this before, but if you're new to the channel, I love this team up. It's one of my favorite all-time current team ups that are out there right now. Current all-time? Current of all-time? Of all-time current? You know what I mean. Yes, it is a team up that I just absolutely love, and I will buy everything they put out, those two that work together on any projects that they do. So, yeah, Little Monsters, it is essentially about these group of kids who've been living on Earth now that the Earth has been, for the most part, removed of humanity. These kids are vampires, and they don't really know the whole idea behind what they crave and why they're there and what is left to do. They're bored, but they have discovered that there are some humans around, and one of the kids get a taste of blood for the first time, and it's completely changed their world, and he's trying to get the other friends of his involved, and there are some who still think that this isn't right, and so it's a whole mix of things. I'm really enjoying it, especially the last 2 issues. I feel really brought around kind of where things are going overall. I know some people had talked about the first issue being a little slow or whatever, but I loved it. I think this is another group, Jeff Lemire and Dustin Nguyen, where their writing style and their storytelling is very well done in trade form. So just like I've been reading a lot of the Black Hammer stuff by Jeff Lemire over the past couple of months, and that too, like I think I would just have to I'd want to read that, trade by trade. So if you're new to Jeff Lemire, or if you've never read like Descender, or things like that they've worked on together, him and Dustin Nguyen, maybe this is something you read in trade. But it's only 5 issues right now. I think they're going to do like 12 or something like that Dustin said as of right now that they have planned. I don't know if this is going to be more of an ongoing. I don't know if they're testing it out and seeing how it goes from here. I would love if it was ongoing. That'd be great if we can get more than 12 issues. But either way, I'm really excited for it. So that's going to be my number 4 pick of the week, Little Monsters issue number 5. Okay, so going into my number 3 pick, let me just say that these next 3 books all could be pick number 1s for me. That's how excited I am and looking forward to all 3 of these. Of course, I try to honor my order of top 5, and so if I absolutely had to make something a 3, a 2, and a 1, then this is the order that I'm putting them in. But either way, I'm just excited for all this. So let me get into my number 3 pick, and that is going to be the new series of Batman. Although it's technically issue 125, I call it new because they're getting Chip Zdarsky as the writer, changing it up now that it's been Tynan. It was Tom King, then Tynan, and then Joshua Williamson, and now we're finally getting a new kind of set of stories coming out with by Chip Zdarsky, and we're getting Jorge Jimenez back on the artwork, which I just fell in love with all his stuff. I mean, I've even gone back now to like some of his Super Stun stuff because I just fell in love with it. But him and Tynan working together on the Batman series, the Harley Quinn Punchline stuff, like I fell in love with his artwork there. So I'm excited to see that he's back. He is back on this series, and he's with Chip Zdarsky. Like what a team! What a team! So I'm really excited to see where it goes. I know there's a lot of Batman titles out there, but I'm all for it. I'm down as I'm still very much a newer experienced Batman reader. I'm totally down. I want to see where this stuff goes, and like I said, Chip Zdarsky. If you haven't read Daredevil, his current Daredevil run, it's fantastic. I highly recommend it. And I'm curious to see kind of what he does with Batman, as they are two very similar characters in certain ways. So yeah, we'll see where that goes, but. Yeah, so this is going to be part 1 of what I hope to be a very epic run, starting with Batman 125. Love the artwork here. There's, of course, a ton of variants for that. So, when you're at your LCS, pick and choose what you want. I know there's a nice, like, what's his name? Alex Ross variant. I was going to say Rick Ross. Alex Ross variant. Jim Lee has done 1 or 2. There's a Jock foil variant. So, yeah, there's plenty to choose from. I'm definitely going to go with cover A. And maybe I'll pick 1 or 2 of the variants. We'll see. But yeah, really excited. So that's going to be my number 3 pick of the week, Batman issue 125. All right, going into my number 2. And again, it's close, very close. Got to go with Poison Ivy, issue number 2. This has been, just something that kicked off last month. I really, really enjoyed it. There were a ton of variants and everything else that I couldn't help myself but buy a bunch of them. This artwork right here, too, just absolutely stunning. Let's see, the cover art is different from the interior. It's Jessica Fong doing the cover artwork, and then the interior is Marcio Takara, and all of it's been beautiful. And of course, it's written by G. Willow Wilson, who I've heard her name before. I'm not very familiar with her writing, but from what I've been told and kind of did some research on, she's known for her Miss Marvel work. So I haven't read any of the Miss Marvel work that she's done, but I am curious now that I've read issue 1 of this and I've heard really good things. So maybe that's something I have to go back to, especially because I've been watching the current Miss Marvel TV show and all that stuff. So but anyways, yeah, really excited for this. There is a Jenny Frison cover, by the way, I will note, although that is not my cover buy of the week. Shocker, because usually Frison's usually always up there. But yeah, Poison Ivy, I like that this is continuing to kind of pick up from where the information that we got from, or the storylines that we got from Fear State, from Tynan, that whole Fear State story arc or era that he put together. And so, yeah, Poison Ivy she's a villain. She's bad, and she wants to take the world down with her, essentially. I really like the writing style of the first issue, because it was more or less her writing out this letter to Harley Quinn, kind of how she feels. But along the way, you get her whole story, or this whole new story that's developing, and her big plans that she has. So it's very dark. I hope it gets even darker. I'm really liking the Poison Ivy character. I'm new to reading, a lot of the Poison Ivy stuff, other than some of the tie-ins from Batman and Harley Quinn and things like that. But I want to know more. I want to read more about Poison Ivy, and this is a great place for that. So if you are new, just like me, to Poison Ivy, this might be a spot for you to dive in, starting at issue number 1. As I think this is a 5-issue miniseries altogether, so it's going to be digestible. Like I said, I hope it gets even darker, but we'll see. I really, really enjoyed that first issue, though. So that's going to be my number 2 pick of the week, Poison Ivy, issue number 2 by G. Willow Wilson. And then let's see, going into my number 1 pick, before I get into my number 1 pick, and of course, keep in mind I'm going to do my cover buy of the week as well, but just want to give a huge shout out to everybody in the Premiere chat right now. Thank you all for always hanging out with me and supporting the chat here on these Thursday afternoons. Hope everybody's doing well. As far as some content coming up, we actually just by the time you're watching this, John and I, we just finished our Omni X-Men. We had our final show. So for that, or I should say final show of season 2. See, my dog's very upset about it as well. I know I'm going to miss it, but we will be back starting in October. That's going to be our plan for Omni X-Men. So if you've been following along, or if you haven't been and you like X-Men, you should watch, or go back and watch some of our old episodes over this during this summer break that we're taking. But yeah, this has been the end of season 2. So if anyone was there in the giveaway, we had a bunch of giveaways over on John's channel. If you were there for that, appreciate you supporting. Hopefully you won something. We had a bunch of artwork and other things that we were giving out, a bunch of fun games and things like that. So it was a lot of fun. Go check out the live stream or the replay. I'll put the link in the description below. But yeah, so we'll be back for Omni X-Men. I already announced this, but I'll say it again here. Comic Collector Origins, I'm also taking a little bit of a break on, at least until I get into like the November time period. A lot of that's just because I have a lot of different Comic-Cons that are coming up, and traveling, and just family events and things like that, like almost every other weekend coming up, that I really just don't have the time to be able to carve out a 2:00, live stream, and things like that. So November, believe it or not, is kind of when things clear up a little bit for me. And so, I figure it's going to work out great. Hopefully, I appreciate everybody who has been supporting that show and continues to support the show. We'll have more of those. They're a lot of fun. Obviously, I've made so many friends and connections through that show, and I definitely want to come back with more. But yeah, just with schedule and work and everything else, things are a little bit just packed right now, which is a good thing, because I'm staying busy, and it's all fun stuff and things I'm looking forward to in the future. So things are good, and we'll pick that up in November. But anyways, let's get into my number 1 pick of the week, and that is going to go to, believe it or not, DC versus Vampires issue number 7. Let me just tell you right now, do not sleep on this series. This is a fantastic series. I am absolutely loving this series, and I could not believe that I'm enjoying it that much. I remember when the issue 1 came out, I guess, 6+ months ago, and I was like, man, like vampires, DC, like, I don't know. I guess I'll dabble. I'll give it a try. And a big reason why I even wanted to give it a try is because James Tynion was doing the writing, and I'm like, okay, Tynion's my boy. I want to check it out. He hasn't really let me down yet. So, I've been enjoying everything that he does. So, that's what gave me the initial thought to, give this a shot. And I'm really happy that I did, because it is absolutely just, it's so good. It's just so good. The artwork here too, I think, let me see, the artwork. I should know, Matthew Rosenberg also, he's involved with the writing as well, and he's actually doing some of the tie-ins, the side tie-ins that they're involved with. So he's kind of carrying the torch in that sense as well. So the two of them together teaming up very nicely, and I am liking that. So Otto Schmidt is the artist. That's who I was looking for before. Doing a really good job there. In this case, Guillaume March doing the cover art here. I don't think he did the cover art for the last few, so they're changing that up a little bit. I'm kind of surprised. I really like this. Close to a cover buy of the week. It's not, but it's close. I do like the colorful pink vibes and everything. But anyways, yeah, basically, if you don't know the gist of it, it's like this virus has kind of taken over the world, where there are now vampires, and vampires have turned a couple of the good guys and the bad guys, like of just villains and heroes that from DC. So it's taken a lot of different contexts. Obviously, this is a story told outside of like the norm, or the regular current series running right now. But it's really interesting, because it's like you don't know who to trust. You don't know who is a good guy, who's a bad guy. You have bad guys teaming up with good guys. You have good guys who are complete villains now. There's some heartbreaking things that happen over the past couple issues. So yeah, I can't recommend it enough. This is why it's my number one pick, is because I'm just enjoying the heck out of it, and I think you would too. So I do recommend it. If you haven't checked it out, definitely do so. And that's my number one pick of the week, DC versus Vampires issue number 7. All right, and before I wrap up this video, hang tight because I do want to go over my cover buy of the week. And if you're wondering what that is, cover buy of the week for me, it's just the book that I see on the shelf every new comic book day, and I'm just like, I have to have it. I fall in love with the artwork, and regardless of if I'm reading it or not, I'm like, yep, that's got to go on my PC. So that's what a cover buy of the week is. And so I'm going to show my cover buy of the week, which is this stunning book right here, Poison Ivy issue number 2. This is the 1 in 25 Alvaro Martinez Bueno cover, and yeah, I love it. I absolutely love it. It's so stunning. I love Alvaro's style that he does. If you are not familiar with him, or maybe you are, you recognize his artwork. He's done the Nice House in the Lake stuff. That's his, you know, the main interior that he does for that. That's this artist right here, amongst other things that he's done, of course. But yeah, I absolutely love it. This, just looking at this here now, love that Poison Ivy's, you know, her hair really stands out, of course, as always, against the green background there. You know, you got the green in the background, and then on top of that, the flowers coming out. I just love how the light kind of hits her face. And again, you get a lot of those vibes in Nice House on the Lake. Very similar style. So yeah, of course, I got to go with my boy Bueno here, and this stunning 1 in 25 incentive variant for Poison Ivy issue number 2. So yes, that means I'll be getting at least 2 copies of this particular book, this 1 in 25 incentive, and of course the cover A, because I gotta have the cover A as well. But yeah, so there you go. That's my cover buy of the week, and I'm curious, what is your cover buy of the week? Is there a book that you see coming out this week where you're just like, yeah, doesn't matter if I'm reading it or not, gotta have it, gotta own it? Let me know in the comment section below, because guess what? You're not alone. I feel your pain, man. Sometimes you have to have these books, and I totally get it. Sometimes there's multiple, you know, cover buys of the week, so that's where it can really hurt the wallet, but hey, it's worth it. If you're happy, it's in your PC. That's how I feel, at least. And so that's why I need to have this in my PC. And so that is going to wrap it up. That is my top 5 picks for New Comic Book Day coming out next week, July 6th, 2022, along with my cover buy of the week. Let me know in the comment section below if you agree with this list, if you have a recommendation of your own, if you think I missed something or left something out. Would love to hear your thoughts and where you're at with you know, your current reading right now. But otherwise, I appreciate you always taking the time to watch. Smash that like button on the way out. And until next time, I will talk to you later.